Good morning.
Well, good morning, everybody, and thank you so much for all of you who have tuned in, especially out here on the West Coast, where Costas and I are. It is bright and early. Sun's not even up where I'm at right now. 6:30 in the morning, actually a couple minutes before. Costas, how are you this morning?
We'll see. I'm just kidding. I'm fine. But
He's fine right now, everyone. We'll see in a few minutes. Listen, it is the 23rd of February. There was a conference on the 20th. That was on Friday. There are 5 cases that we're going to be really focusing on, but there's several cases. Costas is going to be doing kind of a check of the orders list and stuff. But let's get you all up to speed. There were 2 assault weapon ban cases that were scheduled on this conference already. One was Grant v. Higgins. That's a challenge to Connecticut's assault weapon ban. A companion case from it is also NAGR versus Lamont. Both of those cases were already scheduled for conference on the 20th several weeks ago. Then on January 23rd, we had a conference where a bunch of cases got kicked down the road again. Finally got put back on conference for Friday, including the big one, Duncan v. Bonta. So that we are waiting word on that. There is another magazine ban case out of my state here, Gators Customs Guns versus State of Washington. And then yet another assault weapon ban case, this one coming out of the 7th Circuit in the matter of Viramontes versus Cook County. So those are the 5 big cases. Costas, I know you got several other cases that we're going to be kind of tracking today as well. And then depending on how things go, we got a few other things that we might get to talk about too. And the good news is we got Miss Hannah Hill from the National Association for Gun Rights joining us here in a little bit too. They got a case on petition today. They got the Lamont case. So both Lamont and Higgins were in interlocutory phase. I don't know if you think that means much, Costas. I know there's this urban legend out there that doesn't bode well for.
Well, they granted Wolford, so we'll have to see. Of course, Wolford had the federal government support, so who knows? We'll just have to see.
Yeah, exactly.
We got an orders list.
We got an orders list. All right, you want to hit it, and let's take a look. The orders list is out.
I don't see. Hold on. Orders and pending cases. Come on, load, you stupid page.
I got it.
Certiorari granted, not in Duncan or any of the gun cases.
Nope.
And nothing on Duncan. It looks like we're gonna have another nothing day, guys.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's do this. Because this could be a big nothing. Let's at least bring some character onto the stage. So we'll bring Miss Hannah Hill onto the stage. Hello, Hannah Hill.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Now, Hannah's out on the East Coast, so she's been up for a few hours. She's all presentable. It's like 9:30 in the morning. She's already got up, probably jogged a couple of miles, and
I'm just saying,
charity work at the food bank and all of that stuff. And now she's in the office.
I have much less rage at the Supreme Court on the East Coast than I did in Mountain Time. I'm gonna tell y'all that.
All right.
None of the marquee cases have any news again. So Duncan,
So we got
Gators.
no news on Duncan, Gators, Viramontes, Grant, or Lamont.
I'm still looking for Grant. Hold on, let me check Grant. But I think these are all going to rise or fall together, to be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think Grant's on there either. I agree. I think they're all going to rise. If they take them, they'll take the group of 5 with the possible exception of Viramontes, but I think they'll probably, I mean, you've got 3 circuits. There are 3 appellate circuits represented,
Right.
Each coast and a section of the Midlands represented in those 5 cases. I would think they would take them all together if they're going to take them.
Yeah, it looks like there's no news on any of these cases. Did I check Vincent? Let me check Vincent.
Yeah, because there was now Vincent's is Vincent a 922 G1 argument?
Yeah, it's the one. It's that one that survived for some reason.
That's right. Yeah, because on January 20th, I don't know if you saw this, Hannah. On January 20th, they axed about 50 of those 922 G1 felon with firearm cases. Costas and I were all thinking like, oh, they're going to hang on to all of them and then they'll GVR them back. And apparently on January 20th, they had an entirely different plan. It was like, it was a purge. They had a purge on January 20th of those.
Oh, NRA v. Vulo was denied.
NRA v. Vulo. Now, is Vulo a 922 G1 or is that an 18, 19, and 20-year-old?
Hold on, let me pull it up because my
Vulo's that free speech case.
Yeah, I think it was yeah.
Which one was it? What was it, Hannah?
That was a free speech case, wasn't it? Was that the one that came out of the California Attorney General's policy of basically demanding the Schedule Bs of nonprofits?
Was that one?
I believe so.
I need to refresh my memory. My brain
this
is
fried.
This
is Vulo's second time around to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court ruled on it, and then it wasn't.
Okay, that's why. All right. Oh, see, good thing we have Hannah here to keep everything straight for us. Now, just so you guys know, if all of these cases have in fact been kicked over, which it appears right now that they have, these are our
next also denied.
Which
I don't remember what Fuchs was.
Which one was?
Fuchs v. Maryland. It's on Rob Romano's list, which is what I'm using to check.
Okay. Well, Romano knows what's going on. He's pretty good. Real quick here. February 27th, just a week from now, or this Friday, will be a conference. And then we got March 6th, March 20th, March 27th. And I think all three of us can agree that even if we got good news on one of those conferences, we're talking about something that's going to be in the fall term now, right?
Yeah, for sure.
And we're talking about possibly having a change in one justice between now and then, too, aren't we? Hannah?
Maybe. I mean, we'll see.
Let's hear Hannah's theory on this. Hannah and I had a geek out session last week about this, and I want to hear her theory because it's not a crazy theory at all.
The fact that he's got a book coming out right as the oral argument session starts kind of is the only thing that's given me pause. There's so much chatter about justices retiring. I don't think Thomas ever will. I'm not sure about the others. So,
do you think Thomas is one of those guys they'll just roll him out on a journey from chambers someday? That's the way he's going to go. He's going to go Ruth Bader Ginsburg on us.
And honestly, there's a part of me that respects leaving the decision of the next Supreme Court justice timing to the Lord, to Providence, rather than. But on the other hand, they're probably all the Ruth Bader Ginsburg seat, and how that went down is probably looms large in everybody's memory. So.
Well, I think that's why you're also seeing like 40-year-old judges typically being nominated now rather than 65-year-old judges too.
Yeah, so, I don't know. I'm of two minds on that one, and it definitely makes me anxious because a lot depends on how easy it would be for Trump to get his nominee through. Because if we get a Van Dyke, or who is it, Judge Richardson from the Fourth Circuit, either of those, I mean, honestly, they might even be an upgrade. But if it takes him a while to get that nominee through, and that's going to depend on the midterms, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't know how this one's going to go down.
Well, here's one of the things, and Costas, I wanted to ask you about this. The 18, 19, and 20-year-old cases. A couple of them are still kicking around. Paris versus Second Amendment Foundation, one of yours. McCoy versus ATF, that's kicking around as well. Do you think those cases are likely going to be held on and then GVR'd once we get the rulings on Hamani?
Yeah, they're doing something with those because those are not on the relist cycle like all these other cases.
Oh, and do you remember when they conferenced last? They last conferenced on November 14th.
Yeah, it's been a while. So they're doing something with those. It's kind of interesting that they're holding on to those, but not all the 922 G1 cases. So I'm not sure what they're, because if Hamani were to shed light on this sort of thing, you'd think it'd shed more light on 922 G1, not 18 to 20. But
I agree. I think 922 G1 could be almost directly on point. The 18, 19, and 20 depends on how narrow or broad of a ruling you end up with.
Right. I mean, and look, they just denied Fuchs v. Maryland, which I mentioned earlier. And that one, I looked it up because I didn't remember what the case was. Now, I'm pulling up the question presented right now, but when I Googled it just now, it doesn't bode well for us. So the question presented was, does Maryland code blah, 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 which provides that a person may not possess a firearm if the person has been convicted of a violation classified as a common law crime and received a term of imprisonment of more than 2 years, violate the Second Amendment on its face. So this is like a state equivalent of 922 G1, and they denied it. So I don't think this bodes well for us in Hamani that they keep denying these cases if they think, because the whole point of Hamani is class-based disarmament. And if you can disarm someone because they got a common law conviction and received a term of imprisonment for more than 2 years, like, I don't know. I don't think that they're looking that closely at these class-based questions. I hope I'm wrong, and I hope the oral argument at Hamani changes.
Well, let me throw a curveball at you guys about a 922 G1. So in the geek out leading up to this, I realized that there had been several new petitions filed for review before the United States Supreme Court, including all of these cases that are challenges to 922 G1, much like all the other cases. But then along comes that case, United States v. Mitchell, and you'll notice that the parties are reversed here, which means who's bringing that appeal? It's the United States.
Right.
Okay. Now, what kind of facts do you think are presented in U.S. v. Mitchell? Here it is. This is how it starts. Respondent has an extensive criminal history. In 2016, soon after he turned 18 years old, he was convicted in Mississippi State Court of an assault with a weapon after an incident in which he is alleged to have repeatedly hit a woman in the head with a pistol. By the way, that was the beginning of his criminal career, and it goes on and on from there.
So do we think that's better or worse than shooting up a Whataburger like Rahimi did?
Oh, my goodness.
I don't know, but this is they both suck, Hannah. But this is the problem is now you have the United States Department of Justice appealing this case, and as Coastal has pointed out many times, they have a tendency to get their way on a lot of this stuff.
Well, and the frustrating thing about it is that both cases where the Supreme Court has smacked down a lower court's application of Bruin, it has been on the favor of gun owners, and it's come from the Fifth Circuit. Yep. Never mind all the appellate courts that are getting Bruin wrong and upholding all manner of heinous gun control. When the Fifth Circuit goes just a little bit too far in restoring rights under the Second Amendment, that's when the Supreme Court steps down. They did it in Rahimi. They did it in Hamani. Maybe we'll get something good out of Wolford. I hope so. But this case here, this one worries me as well, especially because, the Fifth Circuit is only going to continue doing the right thing for so long that they keep repeatedly getting smacked down like that.
Well, that, or they could just dig in their heels like the Ninth Circuit does and just say, well, I'm just going to keep throwing a big middle finger at the Supreme Court and the Constitution. I don't know if they have that in them.
They could pull an Easterbrook. They could certainly do that.
Costas, anything come up on the orders list that catches your attention?
Other than the two I listed, that Vulo and Fuchs that got denied, I think one other thing I want to check is whether, because there was a new crop of 922 G1 cases that came up as there always is, and I wanted to see if those got wiped out too. I'm trying to find.
So for those of you who just are tuning in right now, all 533 of you, thank you very much for starting your work with us. If you're late to the party, let us get you up to speed on what you have missed so far, which is nothing. You have absolutely missed nothing except Costas, Hannah, and I have been just geeking out for a few minutes. But let's give you a quick replay. Grant v. Higgins, a challenge to Connecticut's assault weapon ban case, along with the companion case of NAGR versus Lamont. Lamont's on its second conference, Grant's on its first conference. Both of them, no word on it whatsoever. Duncan v. Bonta, probably the case that we're watching most closely. Costas, what's this, about the 6th or 7th conference on this case already?
Let me check. Oh, looks like another 922 got denied. Let me check. I think Duncan is on its 5th or 6th.
Yeah. So this is going the way of Snow. Another case that's been tagging along with Duncan, a case I'm very fond of, Gators Customs Guns versus State of Washington. That apparently we have no word on whatsoever. And then one other assault weapon ban case out of the 7th Circuit that we were watching carefully, Viramontes v. Cook County. And so we don't have words on any one of those. Costas has done a word search on the orders list. If you type in Supreme Court orders list right now into Google, you'll be able to pull it up. It's dated right there. You'll be able to find it. I believe there was one case that was accepted today. Has nothing to do with anything we're worried about, so we're not going to geek out on that one. I've done enough videos already about tariff rulings. I don't ever want to read about tariff rulings again. Most boring crap ever. We're going to be doing a video. By the way, what's the name of? Is it Hall versus Sig Sauer, Costas?
Yeah, okay. That's the one we did the amicus.
Yeah, listen, real quick. I did a video yesterday, and I think this is a fascinating issue. It's a case. I believe it's in Pennsylvania, and it is a civil suit against Sig Sauer over the P320. And we're not going to get into the merits of the lawsuit, whatever. But there was a discovery order that had been issued by the court that basically told Sig Sauer that they had to turn over the names and identities of everybody that had ever contacted them about issues related to the P320, which put Sig in a position where they got to release private customer information to the other party without the customer's consent. And so on a motion to reconsider, Costas drafted a brief along with his friends over at the NRA. So it was the NRA and the Second Amendment Foundation both got together, did an excellent amicus brief. I have a video out on it. Came out yesterday. And Costas, one of the things I realized in reading your memorandum is the case law on do we have a privacy interest in gun ownership information about ourselves is not particularly well developed at all.
No, it isn't. It's pretty much non-existent except for a couple of stray state court decisions and the Ninth Circuit's not great ruling in Doe v. Bonta, but that wasn't directly on point. So that's what we're hoping to develop. We'll see what this particular judge thinks, but it's just a starting point. So.
Well, and this is concerning, though, in some levels, because I believe you already had an incident in California where your state either accidentally or intentionally doxed a bunch of gun owners. Listen, if you live in parts of Oklahoma and you're a gun owner, you wear it proud like a badge of honor. But if you live in, like where I live, Seattle, like where you live, Costas, down in the LA area, that's you kind of keep that activity hush hush. You don't necessarily go out and tell the whole world you're a gun owner just because, that's the way you got to go along to get along in those communities.
Yeah, I joked that Rob Bonta doxed me, put my address online and said I have a CCW permit. Everyone knew that already, but he also doxed a bunch of judges, prosecutors, and people with who got CCWs because of they have stalkers and all this stuff. It was crazy. Thousands of people. And people called it a leak at the time. It wasn't a leak. There was a download button. It said download the data, and you clicked it, and you got all this information. It was crazy.
Anna, have you had a chance to check that out yet?
So we were tracking that. And we had some members concerned about that at the time. This case is not one that's been on my radar, so I'm glad you mentioned that. And I'm looking forward to reading Costas' brief. The interesting thing about that is that most of these types of attacks on gun owners' identities come from the First Amendment side. Typically, they want organizations like ours and Second Amendment Foundation, everything, to force us to disclose our donors. And that's typically where the attack comes from. You can smack that down fairly easily on First Amendment grounds because there's a lot of solid case law on that. But is buying a gun protected speech? I mean, no, is it? It doesn't seem like it should be.
It's I think we'd argue it's privacy. Yeah.
To your point, why there's not a whole lot of case law about the privacy rights of customers. So
well, and the problem is when you take a look at the constitutional right to privacy, it's kind of a conglomeration of several interests that come out of various constitutional rights. Yep. The Ninth Amendment kind of being the big guiding one, but there's a lot of other things, and it unfortunately allows the fungibility of what the rule of law will be. And what I'm worried about, and I think Costas did a really good job of pointing this out in the memorandum, is that, hey, unless we get on top of this right away, we're going to end up getting case law developed by the Ninth Circuit, the Seventh Circuit, the Fourth Circuit, and stuff like that on this, and that is not going to be good. No. All right. Costas, anything else? You're not throwing anything around, so we didn't get a denial today. So at least we're not going to start off.
The only other development I'd say is it looks like because I'm going through a list of 922 G1s posted by my frenemy Charles Nichols, and he does a good job of tracking these cases, and it looks like the wipeout of 922 G1 cases is continuing because there was a new batch, and they're denying. It looks like I'm going through the list. A lot of these as well. So, yeah.
So the 922 G1, and for those of you who don't remember what 922 G1 is that is the federal law that says that if you've been convicted of an offense for which you could have been sentenced to a year or more, most people who challenge it never did anything close to a year in jail, that you're barred from possessing a firearm. And there's been at least 80 cases this term alone that have been on conference. January 20th, we probably cut about 55 of them, and Costas is going through the orders list again today, and it appears that they're cutting the throats a lot of these cases again, aren't they?
That's indeed the case.
And every year at the Supreme Court, you see an influx of these kinds of cases. And every year the Supreme Court ducks them for the most part. It's going to be interesting to see how many and which ones, if any, they save to GVR after Hamani. But for the most part, they've never had any interest, demonstrated any sort of interest in taking a 922G case.
Yeah. Although we got a 922G3 case that was taken, right?
Yeah, actually, one 922G1 case didn't get slaughtered. I wonder why. I'm gonna have to look at it.
Which one is it?
Fitzgerald. Oh wait, maybe I put the wrong name.
Oh, maybe he got slaughtered anyway. We just searched a different.
Oh no, no. Is that Derek? Hold on. There's so many. Yeah, never mind. It got slaughtered. I was using a middle name instead of a last name.
All right. So, if you are currently a convicted felon watching the channel, 1, thank you very much. 2, sorry for your previous history. But number 3, there is no progress being made on restoring your Second Amendment rights anytime soon, unfortunately.
Now, I mean, one of the reasons the Department of Justice is trying to clamp down on that sort of thing and keep any cases of that nature from getting taken is because they're about to roll out this process, this rights restoration process, which will be good by itself for as long as it lasts under the current administration. But that's hardly a blanket restoration to a category that maybe shouldn't exist in the first place.
Yeah.
For those of you who don't know what Hannah's talking about, there's a refunding of 18 United States Code 925C, which was defunded, I think, during the Clinton administration, wasn't it?
Yep.
And so we are actually refunding that. So the Attorney General of the United States will actually have the ability and authority to restore Second Amendment rights for those who qualify. I think that rule should have been published a month or 2 ago and is not out yet. Isn't that right, Hannah?
I believe we have the rule was initially published, but I don't believe the comment period has.
Yeah, the comment period hasn't ended, and so we've been holding off on doing any videos here at Washington Gun Law until we actually know what the final rule looks like, so that we can kind of walk people through what the process for Canadians. Good silver medal for
the annoying thing about that
for Americans.
You ban people who were convicted of a misdemeanor that could have had a penalty of over a year. Not necessarily that you got the penalty, but you could have. By the way, in South Carolina, sneaking into a movie theater for the second time puts you in that category.
Is that right?
Impersonating a lawyer puts you in that category, which maybe else. Yeah.
But if you're going to impersonate somebody, God, people, do something better than a lawyer, for God's sake.
I mean, look, it's a really, really dumb decision to do something like that. But at the same time, does that mean you should be stripped for your entire life? For the right to defend?
Hannah, you bring up a good point. Let's take a state like California, okay, hell-bent on disarming people. What's not to say that you go out there and you just start changing all your misdemeanor maximum penalties to 18 months.
Yes.
Granted, you're never going to give the person even a single day in jail, but the maximum penalty is 18 months. And so now you got driving on a suspended driver's license, petty theft. I'm not supporting these crimes or condoning these crimes. I'm just saying that in the grand scheme of things, as a criminal defense attorney, there's a spectrum of behavior here. And so we start talking about mundane things, but because they were technically could have been sent, now we're disarming thousands and thousands and thousands of people annually on petty offenses. What stops the state from doing that unless the court steps in and gives some clear guidance on this 922G1?
And that's why it bothers me that the DOJ doesn't want the court to do that. They would rather have the entire category stripped of gun rights and then dole them out piecemeal. Yeah. And most of the people who apply for rights restoration under this new process that the Attorney General is rolling out, which, by the way, is a good thing. I'm not slamming that. But most of the people who apply aren't going to get their rights restored. And that's under a friendly administration. So really, we need that categorical ban, either greatly narrowed or at least or entirely removed. And you got to watch your state legislature, too, for that reason, because the bill doesn't have to even mention the Second Amendment, right? But if you just have a tough on crime bill that increases potential maximum penalties beyond a year, suddenly you've added a whole new group of people to that prohibited category.
Whole new category of people you can disarm. Costas, anything else you want to add about today's orders list other than the fact that it's a plain nothing burger?
They did deny 922G3 case. I haven't looked at the facts, so that's interesting because they have you'd think they'd hold it for Hamani.
Which one was that?
Let me pull it back
up. Cunningham, was it?
Sorry?
Wasn't Cunningham, was it?
I don't think it was Cunningham, no. I just had it here, then I scrolled by it. Hold on.
Cunningham was a 922G3 case that was like the perfect setup. It was like the opposite of Hamani.
Sanchez v. United States. Andre Edwards Sanchez v. United States.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And then the other interesting thing is I lost the name of the case right now, but there's a case about public transportation that was not denied. So carrying on a sensitive places case, not Schoenthal. Or I'm sorry, not public transport. It's still early. I clearly need more of this energy.
That's all right.
I meant to say parks, not public transport.
So another sensitive place thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, Schoenthal just had its response brief turned in late last week, I think on the 17th. I read the brief over the weekend. I'm going to get a video out early sometime today or tomorrow. I'll record it about the Schoenthal response. And that is a big issue because if you take a look at what the Seventh Circuit's reasoning was there, it's like, well, it's a crowded place. And any place crowded would be a place where we can disarm.
That's the level of generality they're all rising to. What's interesting about public transport is there's already a circuit split on it because even the Ninth Circuit of all courts, that was our weird Mavie Bonta ruling where they upheld the vampire rule, Hawaii's version anyway. But even the Ninth Circuit said, well, look, we can't totally say no guns on public transport because that would disarm everyone who relies on public transport. And that's an argument I made in our briefing. So I'm glad they went with it. But they did then say, oh, but they could force you to like put it in your backpack or lock it up or something like that. And then California immediately passed that law saying, okay, you can carry on public transport, but they can make you lock it up and unload it. But see, even that little bit of leeway is better than some places like Maryland. Just up the Fourth Circuit just upheld a total ban on carry, which creates a split with the Ninth because they didn't even say they could let you lock it up. They just said, nope, you can ban it entirely. Like so we already have a circuit split now on at least a slight one on public transport, but whether the Supreme Court cares or not, I don't know. I think we're also going to have to see what the Third Circuit does in Coons, but Coons isn't coming out till after Wolford, so I just don't see the Third Circuit.
Right now, the thing out of the Third Circuit we're all anxiously awaiting is Cheeseman.
Yeah.
The assault weapon.
And I think the Supreme Court might be too. I think they might be punting these hard. I mean, we're going to keep checking every week just in case, but there's a good chance that what they're waiting to see is, are we going to get these Third and Seventh Circuit rulings and then decide among the full menu of cases?
That could be.
And how long have we been waiting for that ruling in Cheeseman? I've lost track of that.
Not that long. I think it was October, November they heard oral
arguments. I think it was late October that they argued.
Yeah. Right. And the Third Circuit's traditionally a pretty quick court when it comes to issuing rulings. So this isn't en banc, so we'll see. But I think they know the implications of this case. So hopefully they'll.
Well, and two, I mean, this is the one where they took the case away from the panel, the 3-judge panel, before they had a chance to rule on it, right?
Yeah.
So that seems to indicate that they want to be particularly on the ball with this. So maybe we will get that ruling before a decision is made on these 5 cases. And then the Supreme Court can take the 6 together with a circuit split. That's my ideal scenario. I'm just dreaming out loud right now.
Well, hey, sometimes that's all we got, Hannah. We just got to dream.
I think the Supreme Court, I may not survive this term, y'all.
Hey, real quick, everyone, for those of you tuning in, first of all, thanks so much for tuning in. If you're watching on replay, thank you very much. The 5 cases that we were going to really focus on today: Grant v. Higgins, NAGR versus Lamont, Duncan v. Bonta, Gators Custom Guns versus Washington, Viramontes v. Cook County. We are getting a punt on all 5 of those. Costas has been kind enough to go through the rest of the order. A bunch of 922G1 cases have hit the chopping block today. That's the felon with firearms. There's been a couple of other denials, but the stuff that we were carefully watching is not going to happen. The next conferences, just for your edification, is we got one coming up on Friday. I don't know if any of the cases from today would actually end up being rescheduled to Friday. We got March 6th, got March 20th, got March 27th. Couple quick announcements. March 2nd, Washington Gun Law is going to be on the state capital of Colorado. working with Rocky Mountain gun owners. We'll be out there for a rally. So if you guys, for all of you out in Colorado, come on by Denver on March 2nd, say hi to Washington Gun Law. And then, yeah, because you guys know how Cheap Trick was like really big in Japan. Like Washington Gun Law is really big in Illinois. And so we will be doing our third Illinois road trip. Here it is right there. And if you go to WashingtonGunLaw.com, you will be able to sign up for any of those events. And yes, Illinois, I've heard you complain. We are going to central and southern Illinois this time. We're going to spend very little time in the Chicago area. We're going to get down. And I'm actually looking forward to it because many of you may not know this, but the very first Kirk ever to come to the United States was farmer in Illinois, fought out of the Illinois National Guard in the Civil War, was given 40 acres of land for service to the country, and left Illinois to come to Washington. That's how the Kirk clan got out here. So I'm actually going to go trace some of my family roots in that part of the state too.
Oh, pretty cool.
So we got the Hamani oral argument next Monday.
That's right. We do March 2nd, right?
Yep. It's sooner than you think. February's
are you going to be up? Are you going to be up live posting on that one too?
No, I don't care about Supreme Court gun cases.
No, not at all. No.
Obviously, I'll be live. Yeah, I'll be live tweeting it.
For those people who want to, because listen, I followed your live updates during Wolford, and you did a fantastic job. So for people who do want to follow that next Monday, is it going to be on your X account or is it on SAF's official X account?
It'll be on SAF's. I try to do them on SAF's just because, so more people see it and stuff, but you will find the link on my page. So you should follow SAF, but even if you don't, I usually start by also posting on my page, hey, go over to SAF's and see the live tweet thread. I don't imagine this one's going to be as fun as Wolford, but we'll see.
Well, it might not be as fun, but it'll certainly be as interesting.
Yeah. That's
Well, listen, both of you, Hannah, anything you want to add? Go ahead.
Just basically that I don't do well with suspense, and I really wish the Supreme Court would take me out of it. But no, seriously, I do think they're going to take one. I think they know they've got to. They know this issue is not going away. Costas isn't going to let it. I'm not going to let it. None of us are going to let this issue go away. And I think they're close. I think they're close, and they may have already decided what they're going to do. It may not be this term, but I think it will be very, very soon. I just hope it happens before we lose our majority.
Kavanaugh said it'd be the next term or two. Well, I guess the term part is done, but 2 is next.
2. I mean, we're still within that
goddamn brief. You said term or 2. You promised. Yes. I'm gonna be like a 5-year-old.
Yeah,
you promised, Kavanaugh.
You promised me. You promised me a new car when I turned 16, and then your dad's like, "Dude, you were 4. I didn't mean any of that crap. What are you talking about?"
Well,
the first thing we got to pray for right now is pray that none of these get relisted. But we're going to find out here shortly. I think we're about to get notifications that they all got relisted. But it'd be good if they don't.
I want them to take these cases, but if they don't, then the next prayer is that Cheeseman comes out soon, and the Supreme Court is on that one like white on rice. So we want them to take that one if they can't take any of these, and we want that to happen soon.
And there's some theorizing, by the way, that New Jersey's not going to appeal if they lose Cheeseman. It's possible, but I don't think so. I think this is the hill they die on. I don't think they're going to let it, even if they know they're going to lose at the Supreme Court. I don't think they'll take the hit for the other, just to do a favor to New York and California and stuff. We'll see.
Look, strategy.
So you think that if Cheeseman, if the Third Circuit strikes down New Jersey's assault weapon ban, that New Jersey would not appeal that?
No, I think they would, but there is a lot of theorizing from a lot of people I respect that saying, oh no, New Jersey will, kind of like DC did after, I forget the name of the case, but their Kerry case back in 2018 or whatever. But a lot of people are theorizing that New Jersey, to preserve other states' AWBs, would essentially take the loss and not appeal. The reason I don't think that's going to happen is twofold. One, I think this is the hill they die on. Even if they would take the loss on something else, they will not take it on assault weapons. But number 2, I think New Jersey knows that the Supreme Court's going to take one of these cases anyway. They've already, Kavanaugh said as much. And once there's a circuit split, even if they could delay us a little bit by not appealing, the 7th Circuit is probably going to be a loss. So we'll just appeal that one and say, hey, look, the 3rd Circuit split, so grant this case.
Well, and you also got Miller v. Bonta out there still floating around.
Yeah, and that'll be a loss too.
Yeah, well, definitely be a loss.
They do know it's out of their hands, I think.
Yeah.
So, Kostas, what do you got on the rest of your calendar for the day?
I'm going to go to sleep.
Hannah, what do you got going on the rest of the day? Other than you and I are going to have a phone call about some other stuff in a little bit.
But I think we do. Yeah, I got a couple phone calls lined up for strategy. So yeah.
All right. You know what I get to, you know what I get to do? It's what time is it? It's 7 o'clock. I got an 8:45 court hearing for real. I got to go throw on a suit and tie, get in my car, and drive about 20 miles south of here and go play lawyer in a real courtroom.
Was Bill drunk driving again? Jesus.
No, I retired from drinking almost 10 years ago. So the likelihood of me getting a DUI now is really remote, really, really remote. So I retired from that type of activity.
Just the weed now, right?
Hey, no, I'm a gun owner. Come on, man. Even if I was, I wouldn't be saying it on a freaking YouTube channel with 500 people tuning in right now, man.
Hello, ATF.
Yeah, hello, ATF. Yeah, I keep my bong in my gun safe. Yeah, right. No, actually, it's a sad case though, because when my client committed his criminal activity, which I will not, or allegedly, he was just kind of beginning to suffer early stages of dementia, and it took the state like 2 years to file the case. Right now, we're at a point where I can't even communicate with my client. Right? I mean, like every time I talk to him, I start with these questions: do you know who I am, and do you know why I'm in your life right now? And no, I have no idea. Who are you? And it's really sad. And so I don't think he's competent to stand trial. And I'm just trying to convince the state to do the right thing. He's going into a memory care center and stuff like that. And candidly, even if he got convicted and they tried to throw him in jail, there's not a single correction facility here in the state of Washington that would take the guy. There's just no way.
I think if once they, I would hope that once they realize this is for real, that they're going to let it go, and you're not trying to trick them or something.
That's what I'm hoping for. But hey, otherwise I'll just keep driving down there every month until they do the right thing. I mean, what are you going to do,
Yeah.
So, all right. Any last words from either of you before we sign out for the day? Kostas?
Nope. Keep your fingers crossed that there's no relist, I guess.
Yeah.
Because that would be a good sign.
And hey, I think you and I are going to need to talk about it, but I think we're going to push our next Behind Enemy Lines back 1 week because of that Illinois road trip. So you and I will talk about it. We'll announce a new date. Cool?
Yeah, sounds good. We can talk about Hamani. That'll be done too by then. So yeah.
Beauty. Hannah, you're the most pleasant one of the bunch. You want to end it? Do you have any you have any other closing comments you want to say to all of us?
The fight and the suspense continues. We'll get through this.
We will get through it. All right. Listen, I want to thank both of you very much. I want to thank all of you who tuned in live today for a Big Fat Nothing Burger, but hopefully we made it at least a little entertaining and a little educational. Don't know if we're going to do this again next Monday. I will think about it. This is getting old.
Murphy's Law is going to kick in on that one.
Yeah, you know the day that I decide, screw it, I'm not doing a Wgl Am. It's going to be like, I'll be looking at Twitter at like 8:15. Like, Duncan got accepted. What the? Damn it. That's exactly what's going to happen. All right, both of you, thank you very much. For all of you who tuned in live, thank you very much. Have a fantastic work week. For all of you who checked it out on replay, you too have a fantastic work week. We'll catch you all next time. Thanks so much.